to happen, particularly in the western part of the India, because there is a rainfall scarcity. Scarcity has been recorded since last 1 month. So I think this is a very apt time. I welcome Dr. Anupama. Bharti, I think landscape is such a subject where, you can relate wetland with surrounding environment, and that is very important if you are looking at the lake with the landscape architecture vision. So I think she's a faculty member in Department of Architecture and Planning, MNIT Bhopal, a long 14-year experience in teaching, research, and professional practices. Her work was mainly on cultural and heritage landscape, infrastructure, landscape ecology. That is very important where the GS comes. It's our domain we feel, biodiversity connected, and climate, which is becoming more and more important in all these, subjects. Her research brings together ecological, socio-cultural perspective on how landscape evolve and how traditional system can, integrated with the modern landscape approach of planning in any environment or any region. Her recent work includes research in living heritage, water infrastructure in Braj, Buckingham Canal, and important Khajuraho landscape. So she has also explored wildlife corridor, landscape linkages, urban vernacular species, and impact of climate. She is a fellow member of Indian Society of Landscape Architecture and a member of Indian Regional Associate Landscape Ecology. Ms. Bharti brings along the cross-disciplinary expertise connecting landscape architecture, ecology, and biodiversity. I think this subject, landscape ecology or landscape architect, are so interconnected. It's very difficult to, apprehend one ignoring other. So I think this is a very good subject. It's a good learning time. Bhartiji, with you, now it's your floor. You can shoot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. And yes, you are very rightly said. Now, the definition of landscape architecture has been shifted towards the landscape ecology in the age of climate change. So, thank you so much. And I would like to welcome all the participants, professionals, educators, scholars, and students to join us today at the in on the occasion of Lake Day. And I would like to thank you, Dr. Thadani, for giving me an opportunity, and Gujarat Ecology Society for giving me an opportunity to present and share my stories and narrations about water. So today I'm going to speak about towards climate resilient freshwater landscapes and integrated heritage water-based conservation practices and biodiversity conservation. So the discussion would be we are going to deep dive into how can heritage water system be integrated into contemporary urban and regional planning? What role can local communities play in conserving historical freshwater landscapes? How can traditional knowledge and modern technologies work together to address India's water challenges? What policy and governance framework are needed to mainstream heritage-based freshwater conservation into climate adaptation strategies? Few of the questions would be the part of my research interest also. So, directly, indirectly, water is important and
webinar में जाओ रही है
important for
उसकी वर्ड लिख
climate change, and why the
माने माने
I request everyone
Right,
to
okay.
please mute yourself and maintain the decorum of the webinar, respecting the speaker as well other participants. Otherwise, I have to take you out from the meeting. So I request once again, please maintain the decorum. Thank you, ma'am. Please.
Yeah, thank you so much. So directly, indirectly, water is responsible for climate change. So in 2009, uh, a Swedish scientist and his team, including 28 scientists, introduced uh, uh, the 9 planet boundaries. The scientist's name is Johann Rockstrom. So he introduced 9 planet boundaries, which are climate, biosphere, land use, freshwater, nutrients, ocean pH, aerosol, ozone, and pollution, which are trying to stabilize the Earth from Holocene period to the Anthropocene period. But after that, from 2009 to 2025, he introduced 9 planet boundaries and he did the risk analysis. So what we found that most of the boundaries we have crossed, and it is not it would be very difficult to return back to make the Earth stable. So that is why in 2015, based upon his research, Paris Agreement has happened, and most of the conference of parties and has happened, and UNFCCs had introduced many awareness programs related to climate change, specifically related to conservation of fresh water and wetlands. So in which number 5, if we can see, the fresh water has been is at moderate risk as of now. But if we can see from 2009 to 2015, in 2009, 7 planet boundaries were assessed and 3 were crossed. That means we have go we have come up beyond those stabilization. In 2015, 7 boundaries has been assessed and 4 has been crossed. For example, the biodiversity integrity, land use change, and biochemical flows. And after that, in 2023, you can see that we have also crossed the fresh water, which the blue water and the green water. The green water means the soil, the moisture which is which absorbed by the plant leaves of the plants, and the moisture that is available in the soil. So that his mean the green water means the water which is available in the leaves and the soil contents. In 2025, again we have uh, st- uh, uh, less exceeded blue green water from 2023, but yet we have crossed the freshwater boundary also. That means it is a signal that we have to pay a very sincere attention to conserve our water resources and wetland systems. So ramification of climate change, uh, at the result of all the things that we have did from the civilization till the present century, the we have increased the temperature 1.2 degrees Celsius as of now. That is from Holocene period to Anthropocene period. The overall Earth temperature has been increased by 1.2 degrees Celsius. The sea level has been risen by 22 to 23%. And the biodiversity, 69% biodiversity has been lost. Extreme heat events are happening. 30% are heat waves has been increased. 7% in decline, and in heavy precipitation, droughts are happening, floods are happening. So because of these, we need to pay attention why the freshwater landscape systems are important, and that is why we are gathered here to understand the freshwater landscape systems and what we can play an important role to conserve the freshwater system and to conserve the earth. Before moving further, so there are some tales and water narratives of India where since civilization, there were many authors, environmentalists, ecologists, and activists who wrote many books on water conservation practices across Indian geography. The first book is talking about spatial ecology of water by Dr. Meghal Arya. So she's talking about the water infrastructures along the semi-arid region of the Rajasthan and Gujarat, in which she has been mentioned. She mentioned that how the traditional water infrastructures were made by our ancestors to secure the future, to use the water for domestic and religious and cultural purposes also. Similarly, the book Aaj Bhi Talab Khade Hain by Anupam Mishra wrote, it is talking about the talabs of Bihar. In post-independence, the Bihar was full of talabs and water bodies. But now the present situation that because of the urbanization, civilization and unawareness of the fact, all the talabs and has been vanished, and now the Bihar has been facing floodings, frequently floods most of the time. Dying Wisdom, wrote by Agrawal Narayan, is a very interesting book which is talking about the water infrastructure structures across the Indian geography, how our ancestors have designed to store freshwater systems. To restore freshwater systems to for our future generation, for the cultural and religious practices, and for the trading purposes also. Again, the traditional water management systems of India, again talking about the rainwater harvesting and management systems, how these systems were, I would like to say that India is the only country in the world where these water infrastructures has been designed across the whole Indian geography of India, cultural and sacred geography of India. Though we can say that, Rome has designed aqueducts so that water can travel from higher land to the low lying areas, and Persia has designed canal systems, underground water systems, so that they can store water for the future generation and for the other purposes. And the Greek civilization have designed water infrastructures for drinking purposes also, but most of the water were used for the aesthetic purposes in fountains and etc. But India was the only country who has designed all the water infrastructures across the geography of India based upon architecture, elements, based upon social elements, or for social elements of interactions and etc. So water security in India, again talking about how the water scarcity in India is happening and what we can play an important role to secure water for the future generation. The margin lands, the book is talking about the human animal conflicts from desert area of Rajasthan to the fishing community of the Sundarbans, how the water has been shaped by the communities, and how the human on animal conflict has happened because due to the shaping of these interrelation between water and humans. The Hydraulic City is a very interesting book which is talking about the 3,000 miles pipelines which has been laid down across Mumbai, and it has been talking politically, and which has also involved many actresses and the people of the Mumbai to deal with the daily basis water crisis in Mumbai. The other book is the talking about when we altered the due to urban development and mining industries and tourism industries, we altered the natural gradients of the slopes and hills and watersheds. So how because of that, how the water systems has been changed, water scarcity we are facing right now. And what the other book, The Watershed, is again talking about the same thing, how we have destroyed water because of the unaware of the fact, because we have never considered water as a planning element of the city, because our ancestors always used to consider water as a planning element while designing the cities. That is why we still safe and using those water infrastructures which has been provided water till now. So it's a time where we need to pay attention ki while we are designing the cities, open spaces, that the present problems we are facing now, it is very important uh, decision we need to take ki we need to consider water while designing the cities. The last book is talking about shades of blue, again across the Indian geography. Lots of tales along the waters has been narrated by different stories and rituals. So this book is talking about that. So all these books are talking about the stories of water since civilization till present India. Now, so the lecture has been divided in three parts. The part one will be talking about the freshwater landscape ecosystems in India. The second part will discuss about the traditional water management practices. And the third part which also include my research and publications which also contributing how the traditional water management practices can conserve water in today's scenario. And the third one will be talking about the integrated water management practices and nature based solutions. So we can see that the India having Vular Lake, Dal Lake, Pangong Lake, Sambhar Lake, Loktak Lake, and Gangotri glaciers. These are the freshwater landscape ecosystems in India, which are rich in geography, which are rich in cultural geography, habitats, lots of the habitats of related to very specific animals or biodiversity like Loktak Lake and the Sambhar Lake and the Ular Lake, and specifically also the Pangong Lake. So we need to understand only by understanding this is the water body, we need to understand the whole ecosystem of the water body, why it is having certain vegetation, why it is having certain landscape character, why it is having certain food web. So we need to understand the whole scenario of water bodies around the area so that we can understand the fact that if we are destroying any of the thing we will be destroying the whole ecosystem related to that. So the Ramsar sites, the map is showing the Ramsar sites. As of now, we are having 101 Ramsar sites, and first two Ramsar sites were declared in 1982, which were Chilka Lake and Kioledio National Park. Initiations of wetlands conservation in India, which were formed in 1985, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and National Wetlands Conservation Program established in 1985, and National Plan for Conservation of Aquatic Ecosystem Scheme introduced in 2013. So these initiations were taken to understand the the water scarcity in India, the degraded wetland systems in India, degraded river systems, river ecology in India. And after that, how we can conserve these systems to stabilize the ecology of water, ecology of Indian geography and biodiversity, wildlife, etc. So first we need to understand the freshwater landscape systems has been divided into lentic and lotic water ecosystems. Uh, Lentic ecosystems are the ecosystems which are stagnant water bodies, and lotic ecosystems which are running water bodies such as streams and rivers. So their attributes are hydrological, ecological, social, cultural, agricultural, and climate resilience. Both lentic and lotic ecosystems possess all these attributes and having the habitats of fishes. Some are the migration, migrating habitat corridors for wild animals, also used for trading, also provide culture, having cultural and religious significance also, such as punj, temple tanks and ghats. And some are used for irrigation purposes also, and also restore, floods and drought, which we are facing right now. So hotspots of freshwater diversity, like in Himalayas, there are glacial rivers and lakes and springs. In Indo-Gangetic Plains, rivers, oxbow lakes, wetlands and ponds. Western Ghats, streams, sholas, waterfalls and wetlands. In Northeast India, rivers, wetlands and beels. Coastal and island regions में lagoons, backwaters and mangrove wetlands. The distribution of pattern, if we try to understand, 41% lotic fresh water is coming from the rivers and streams, 10% is coming from the glaciers, 28% is coming from the ponds and traditional systems which are lentic, and 15% is coming from the lakes and reservoirs, again lentic. So and the freshwater lakes in India, which are ecologically, culturally, biodiversity, ecologically, culturally, they are very rich, and somehow they are, up to the edge of degrading also. So we need to identify their cultural, ecological significance also, so that we can understand how we need to conserve them. Vular Lake, Loktak Lake, Dal Lake, Koleru Lake, Bhimtal, Shivaji Lake, and Sagar Lake, Indra Sagar Lake. Govind Sagar is a man-made freshwater lake. Sardar Sarovar is also a man-made freshwater lake. So degradation of freshwater, blue and green ecosystems, why it is happening? As I told you earlier, because of the climate change and the unaware of the fact that we are cutting the trees mindlessly, we are clearing the forest for the agricultural practices, the industries, the mining industries, tourism industries, the construction industries are very much important for degradation of these freshwater ecosystems, which 90, according to the uh, 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 World Bank, the 19 countries, most in Africa, Central and Southeast Asia, are experiencing the degradation of one of more freshwater ecosystems, pollution, dams, and land conversion. Over abstraction and climate change contribute to the degradation of freshwater ecosystems. And according to the Niti Aayog report 2019, India is facing worst water crisis in history, about 600 million people facing high to extreme water stress, about 2 lakh people dying every year due to inadequate access to safe water. And India is placed at 120th amongst 122 countries in the water quality index, with nearly 70% of water being contaminated. So this is a very, very serious situation and alarming situation where we need to pay attention. The second part is talking about the cultural heritage and water security. So across the Indian geography, these water infrastructures has been designed to restore water, to store water for the future generation, to store water to perform rituals, cultural traditions, and religious activities. So jhalaras are found in the Rajasthan, basically in the area of Rajasthan, Sarovar, which are found in the region of Braj, stepwell in Rajasthan and Gujarat, ghats in Varanasi and Braj region, temple tanks in South India, and airy systems in Chennai. So traditional water infrastructures across the Indian geography has been designed by our ancestors according to the geography of India: Trans Himalayas, Gangetic Plains, Northeast deserts, semi-arid Central Highlands, Deccan Plateau, Eastern Ghats, Western Ghats, and coast. According to these, our ancestors has designed dramatic and beautiful water infrastructures, which are based upon cultural and geographical landscapes, based upon Vedic cultural landscape systems, we specifically designed in Braj, based upon vernacular architectural style, which are designed in some parts of Rajasthan, Haryana, and Madhya Pradesh, and based upon elements of social interaction for women, specifically in Rajasthan, basically the desert area, Madhya Pradesh, and the region of Braj. So traditional water infrastructures and Mandu, which were designed according to the geographical terrain, according to the cultural and traditional activities, and according to the legacy of the people who migrated to Mandu. So we can see that this is the Jahaz Mahal, and these are the water channels which are, and from one terrace to the other terrace, so that they can collect water and restore water for their aesthetic purpose also. And so these were the very good example of rainwater harvesting system also. And these are the step wells, and how the Jahaz Mahal, how the Munji Talav, from one side to the other side, and how the water has been collected from the upper areas to the lower areas. Traditional water infrastructure structures as Rajasthan, again based upon the geography, based upon their traditional and cultural rituals, based upon the ecological importance also. As you can see, these are the jhalaras, tankas, nadis, and this is kundis, and this is the reservoir in Chittorgarh. This is the Jaswant Thada in Jodhpur, and this is the garden in Amer Fort, and this is the Udaipur Lake City. So we just need to, through the images, we can understand how our ancestors has been very much considered water as a designing elements for the city. so that they can play so that because they understood water is important for their religious practices, cultural, religious and cultural practices, ecological significance, so that the biodiversity, in and around can be maintained and sustained, and also for the trading purposes, because when along the routes of Gujarat, when stables were designed so that when the merchants are coming, they can stay there and they can have they can enjoy the rituals also. Meanwhile, they can the water bodies are also there so that the people can fill the use water for domestic and cultural ritual purposes also, and they also keep the building cool at that time. So climatically also these water infrastructures were designed so that they can keep the whole area cool, because to create the by creating microclimatic situations. Water infrastructures is in Braj. This was the part of my research area where we have identified there are 5 types of water infrastructures which has been identified: kunds, pokhars, sarovars, ghats, and wells. So so these water infrastructures were understood from the framework of living heritage, which are the continuity of the functional use, continuity of the community connections, continuity of cultural expressions, and community and continuity of care. So we found that Kund, Sarovar, and Ghats have continuity in their past and present functions. However, pokhars and wells have limited continuity in their original functions. Moreover, continuity in community connections and cultural expressions has been found in all kunds, pokhars, wells, and sarovars and ghats, and continuity of care has been observed only in kunds, sarovars, and ghats. Why it has happened? Because um, we used to respect water when when there were no water supply at our home. We need to go very far to collect water for our domestic uses and for the ritual purposes. So but nowadays, since water supply has happening at home to home, that is why we stopped respecting water. That is why you know kunds and sarovars has been destroyed. Kunds and uh, pokhars has been their usage has been diminished, and the graph shows that 15% continuity in functional use and community care. However, 35% continuity in community connections and cultural expressions. Though we are having the our cultural and traditional associations with these water infrastructures, but we are not aware of the fact that why these infrastructures were designed and why these were important part of the Vedic cultural landscape ecosystems. So that is why it is very much important to pay attention to these water infrastructures instead of providing or performing only ritual activities, ritual performings. It is very much important to connect these water infrastructures from the perspective, to understand these water infrastructures from the perspective of the perception of the local people and women, because these water infrastructures were only social elements of the social interaction for women, which has been lost nowadays. So we need to pay attention on that. The second project was the Bakangam Canal in Chennai. This is the map of post-independence, where this is the Coombe River and this is the Adyar River, and Buckingham Canal has been joined between two rivers for the trading purposes. The 796-kilometer Buckingham Canal, dating back 200 years, was constructed by the British Raj as freshwater connectivity and a linkage between Kakinada in Andhra Pradesh and Chennai in Tamil Nadu. Earlier, it was for 22-kilometer long saltwater navigation canal running parallel to the Coromandel coast of South India from Vijayawada in Andhra Pradesh to Velipuram in district of Tamil Nadu. It was a significant waterway during 19th and 20th centuries, connecting most of the natural backwater using for trading purposes, for luxury activities, recreational activities, etc. But in nowadays, in 19th century, when MRTS was constructed, they just found this canal as a open space, and constructed the pillars, columns of MRTS station into the canal, and that is why we did the worst of the to this canal also, and the open spaces which surrounded by this canal. You can see the images how these the spaces and the canal has been neglected over the period of time by various people and by various societies and the communities which are living nearby the area. So these are the existing sections which you can see where, because now in present situation the communities has been divided during their middle class family, upper class family, and that is why this particular area is very much neglected, and the slum societies who are living here, they are facing very health disaster situations, and but they are very reluctant to shift away from from this area, and so various development programs by the government has been done. So you can see how the pillars of the metros are coming into the water body here and there, and there is some pillar is there and some pillar. So there was no as such proper planning was there, because as I told you earlier, we have not considered the water body as a designing elements for the city. That is why the worst situation has happened to Chennai. And then we have proposed the landscape strategies and nature-based solution to repair the damaged edges of the canal. So we have provided the buffer zones along the we have identified the degraded zone of the canal along the edges of this particular area, and then we have provided the the scientific wetland activated biodisaster system has been used to remove the pollutants from the wetland, and we have provided the vertical gardens and rain garden system so that to avoid the excessive rain and provide the green riparian vegetation has been used along the edges of the water body to to make the water clean and provide healthy green spaces for the slum people who are living nearby the area. The other project is talking about historic urban landscape framework, reviving the lost historical connections around Western group of temples, Khajuraho. So this was the recent visit in 2026 in February when we visited when I visited this site with my students, where we found that there is a Western group of temple, and this is the Shiv Sagar Lake. Because of the cultural and sacred geography of Khajuraho, the Khajuraho has been having gifted by, I would say, God with many sacred water bodies, waterfalls and canyons, and Shiv Sagar Lake is one of them, which is surrounded by here is a Western group of temple, and this is the main road where the entry is happening towards the temple. And there is but now the things are happening. This is the entrance to the Western group of temple, and this is the urban edge where the parking and main roads, market areas are happening. Now the main entry towards the temple has been shifted to this side, and this is the ecological edge where there is the island where the birds used to come, and there are most of the eucalyptus trees has been planted, and now this path has been provided using auto rickshaw, and pedestrian pathway has been connected to connect the visitor from this place to the Western group of temple. And this place is this entry is working as an exit from the temple, also an entrance to the Matangeshwar temple. And this place is now the new entrance to the Western group of temples. So what we have identified, that this edge is working like is possessing a character of a urban edge. This character, because it is surrounded by the Matangeshwar temple and Ghat. So this edge is acting as a cultural edge of the Shiv Sagar Lake, and this is the ecological edge. And this is because it is connecting the entrance to the historical temple. So we have identified this edge as a heritage edge. So according to this, we have identified what are the issues which are happening, and we have provided solutions as per the character which are presently performing by the edges of the water body. So these are the present images of the Shiv Sagar Lake. This is the cultural edge. This is the cultural edge where you can see the temple ghats, and this is the urban edge. These you can see the parking areas, and this is the ecological edge. You can see that the eucalyptus trees, and this is the heritage edge where this is the heritage edge where a plantation has been provided to connect from the specifically the palm trees has been provided from to connect this pathway for the visitors from this area to enter to the western group of temples. So what we have identified, this area has been barren. There is no they have tried to connect. There is the Chauset Yogini temple, which they have also tried to connect to the western group of temple. This side there is a Chauset Yogini temple also. So what we did, we just try to understand how the edges has been working and how the damaged edges can be repaired. So this is existing pathways and pedestrian movement, and this is the urban ecological edge, and how the broken ghats has been there. So this is the barren edge where there were no biodiversity, and there was a stream which was going on, which was also overlooked because of the unaware of the fact that there were so the development was happened just to provide the aesthetics and increase the tourism. So we have just identify it, and then uh, uh, so the heritage is historical edge has been revived by understanding the carvings of the temples. We have observed the temple carvings, and we have used those carvings as a pedestrian in the paved areas, and we have designed the Apsaras gardens and ecological gardens and community spaces for the local communities who are living nearby the area, and we have provided the main entrance gate to the temple so that people can understand there is the entrance gate. And we have also provided the if you can see into the plan. So there is there is the entrance gate we have designed, and there is a Chauset Yogini temple, and we have designed the Vedic garden for the and ecological garden community spaces and bus parking area for where the parking areas and everything is happening here. And the auto rickshaw has been happening here, and this is the pedestrian pathway so that we can restore totally the Shiv Sagar Lake, and it should be avoided by the other disturbance by the human intervention. So this is totally a historical edge, and there is another edge which has been connecting to auto rickshaw by joining the Chauset Yogini temple to the western group of temple. And there we have provided the stream. We have revived the stream. We have revived the gardens also, which were used in the history of the Bundela gardens. According to those characters, we have designed the gardens also, and we have repaired the urban edge by providing certain view points and restored ghats, the cultural edge where we have provided some meditational spaces and seating spaces, and historical pedestrian path along we have provided some seating spaces, etc. The part 3 will be talking about integrating heritage water conservation practices and nature-based solution, which is the most important part, because first we need to understand what is the problem, why we are facing water scarcity, why in urban areas suddenly the floods are coming, suddenly the droughts are happening. So these were the important solutions which has been used by various landscape architects, famous landscape architects, and ecologists and environmentalists are also using these solutions to keep the river clean, keep the wetland, so that they can maintain the wetland ecosystems and save the water. So first the Spawn City concept was introduced by Professor Kongji Yu in 2013. He actually identified the spawn city area, where the flood prone area in China, where floods were coming. So he designed, he created the sponge character, where he used the fast replace the traditional concrete fast drainage infrastructures with green spaces, wetlands, and permeable pavements to absorb, store, filter, and reuse rainwater, reducing urban flooding and water scarcity. So these are the most important point to understand while designing, you to understand the sponsity concept. And when we are in urban areas, when we are facing floods, suddenly heavy rains are happening and the roads are filled of water. So we used to use these kind of solutions so that we can avoid those situations. A successful spawn city should be designed with location in mind, considering factors like topography, rainfall pattern, and the kinds of plants that would thrive there, as well as the needs of community. It's a tailored and holistic approach rather than one size fits for all. So it's very, very important to understand the to identify the area where we can use the sponsity concept to avoid the urban floods. Like he did the understand the where use the wild grasses and wetlands and large areas to create the different types of vegetation so that water can filtrate easily and avoid the floods. The second is rain gardens. The rain gardens and bioswales are green infrastructures tools that capture, slow down, and filter stormwater runoff using native plants and soil. A rain garden is a stationary, shallow basin designed to soak water into the ground, while bioswale is a linear channel depression that actively conveys and filtered flowing water. So as I telling you earlier, where large urban areas are here, where where we are just nowadays we are just designing and paving, providing paving here and there using concrete, using sandstones, using the other concrete pavers. We should stop those things, because we need to understand that the water should be percolate to the ground so that we can avoid the urban flood. So first we need to understand the topography, we need to understand the drainage system of the urban area, so that we can, when the rain is happening, where the rainwater is collecting, we can use these kind of systems. We can use rainwater systems where we can use the the gravel size from small, medium, and large, and where we can provide the wild grass. We can plant the wild grasses and vegetation, and some turf area can be also used, so that the water can be percolate and the spaces will also become aesthetically pleasing, and the biodiversity will also increase at that time, and also it will keep the area cool with respect to the totally paved area. So we need to understand the sincerity uh, of these particular problems when these heavy floods are or heavy floods are happening in the cities, in the university campuses also, due to due to which we always face problems. So we need to consider all these solutions to avoid the urban floods, and to avoid the to keep the temperature clean and to increase the biodiversity. The other third one is the constructed wetland. The constructed wetland is used where the water is heavily polluted, where the water from the factory and the other polluted from sewage disposal from the cities, the city water is coming to the entering to the other wetland and polluting its water. They where the constructed wetlands has been used. So it's a cascading system, and which with the use of certain vegetation and stormwater filtration, stormwater with the use of stormwater and wastewater. We just need to understand how the construction wetland has been provided in the cascading system. So first we used to just with the use of vegetation, it will clean the water, and then again it will filter the water with certain kind of vegetation, and again the third way it will clean the water, and again it will collect into the main water bodies. So in that way, and there are certain kind of vegetation which can which helps in purify the wastewater and polluted water using biophytoremediation and other things. Riparian vegetation and wild grasses. This project I did when I was faculty at SPA Bhopal. So it was project was did during the COVID time, where the SPA Bhopal having a very good ecosystem, having two lakes, the upper lake and the lower lake. So this study was done along the uh, lower lake of the SPA Bhopal, where the we have identified the season, the summer season from March to June, and the monsoon from July to October, and from winter November to February. So this is from March to June. This is from March to June. This is the monsoon season, and this is the winter from November to February. A 1 kilometer, 1 meter by 1 meter patch has been identified and has been divided into grids to understand how the wild grasses, you can see in the images how the ecosystem of wild grasses has been laid on. You can see this wild grass, this wild grass, and this wild grass, and then the plantation is happening here. So based upon that, we understood that these wild grasses are playing an important role in maintaining the ecosystem of this particular lake, and it is full of pollinations and insects and butterflies, and because of these insects and pollinations, the other wild animals and birds are also used to come. And because of that, if we need to understand the succession and the climax of a particular forest or a wetland, this is the very good example of understanding how the wild grasses are playing an important role in conserving the wetlands. So we have collected the wild grasses in their dry state or maybe original state. Their time period has been notified. Some grasses were collected in the dry period, some grasses in the dry state, some grasses has been collected without drying it, and then we have just make them just we have understand their ecological character, their uh, uh, seasonal variation we understood. And we also understood from where these areas, so along the pathways, along the moving areas, along these roads we have identified, and we have collected all these grasses. And then we understood that these grasses are very, very much important to maintain the ecosystem, to bring the forest back, to reviving the forest, rewilding the forest. And also when we are designing urban forest, these these wild grasses, adding color to the environment. And because of the seasonal variation, because from green to the yellow to the maroon to the red, how the transformation has been happening, and how the because of their color variation, according to the color variation, the biodiversity uh, thrive on that according to their color variation. So it will also add a pleasing environment to the urban areas. If we need to plant these kind, if we used to plant if we are planting these kind of wild grasses. And also some wild grasses are herbs, also medicinal plants are also there, which are important for the lake ecosystem, and important from the various types of pollinators. So use of wild grasses, these wild grasses, you can see the example. This is the restoration of a basalt quarry in Timba, Gujarat, done by the late landscape architect, late Professor Professor Bhagwat from CEPT University and Leaf, India. So he did this wonderful project where the quarry has been identified, and then again the whole process has been done. The wild grasses has been planted, then certain elements has certain fishes has been come up in according to, based upon those wild grasses. Some other big plants has been come up, and based upon those. So you have to understand how the food, if the food web of these wetlands has been coming into the picture, the degraded wetland will all automatically get revived. Now, this is the most important, since we are talking about on the occasion of Lake Day. So we need to understand the importance of wetlands. So why the wetlands are degrading? Because of the low percolation rate, removal of vegetation, concretization, urbanization, encroachment of flood prone zones, alteration of existing slopes or gradient of water bodies, dumping of sewage waste and polluted water, use of exotic and invasive species, and change in land use. And monocultural practices is by monocultural practices, tourism industries, construction industries, and road infrastructures, mining industries. So these things were done by majorly by these things. That is why we are facing degradation of wetlands. And so the flooding scarcity paradox is that the destruction of wetlands creates a severe contrast within the same city, simultaneously urban flooding due to lack of retention areas and water scarcity due to lack of stored water and low percolation. So the solution is ecological restoration of wetlands, act as a balanced midpoint serving as a natural reservoirs that simultaneously mitigate flooding and solve local water scarcity. So while discussed with my with my friends who are wetland conservation specialists, and we discussed, and based upon their field work experience, we understood that there are three types of wetlands: silted wetland, degraded wetlands, and lost wetlands. Silted wetlands, which are basically you will found around the uh, junction of the rivers, or the where the rivers have been happening. So their water capacity due to severe silt accumulation often making them look like a dry flat or a land. However, they still remain high moisture, and water loving vegetation can often be found growing on them, like for example the Harike wetland in Punjab. So basically, the silted wetlands can be found along the agriculture practices along, because these were done previously found along the riverbeds. And because of the riverbeds, you can found the lots of silt has been accumulated in these kind of wetlands. Degraded wetlands, you can find most of the cities are full of degraded wetlands hold water, but their physical and ecological structures are highly manipulated, polluted, or ecologically simplified. By simple observation, we can simply identify if this wetland is degraded or not. So first of all, we need to understand the structural manipulation, often excavated symmetrically with deep square sites or uniform depth, lacking in any natural ecological gradient. So if we disturbed the natural slope of the wetland, and then absence of submerged vegetation. So without a gradual slow slope, the submerged plants cannot access the photic zone and fail to survive. A disrupted trophic structure, healthy food chain, as I told you earlier, if we need to conserve our wetland, we need to conserve or sustain our whole food web along the water area. If we able to fail it, the wetland will degrade or the wetland will die. So that is why we need to understand the healthy food chain. Plants, herbivorous, carnivorous are missing. Key species like fish and birds will disappear. And monoculture invasive species, heavily degraded systems are dominated by highly invasive plants like water hyacinths and which choke out of native species and disrupt natural food chain. High and increase oxygen, biological oxygen demand will also one of the cause to degrade the wetland. The third one is the lost wetlands which have completely disappeared due to buried under extensive municipal dumping, construction debris, or urban landfilling that has artificially raised the land's elevation. They can be identified historically using older satellite images, or during field surveys. They are recognizable by the presence of natural indicator plants such as typha, specific wild grasses, as we discussed earlier. herbs and water tolerant trees, which relevant that that a wetland once existed that can be successfully recreated. Now in city, in the images you can see that this is the Ooty Lake, which has been silted fully degraded wetlands of Bangalore, and the lost wetland in Chennai, like Palikarnai Lake in Chennai, which is full of waste dumping and etc. So degraded wetland in most of the, it is very easy to identify, like one of the specifically one type of species, if more in more number you found along the wetland, that means that wetland has die or on the edge, on the verge of die. Or the if the kind of butterflies or some kind of things are, species are missing, or the food web is missing, that we need to understand that this wetland is going to degrade or has been already degraded. So, what we need to understand, first we need to characterize, to restore the wetland, first we need to understand how the fully functional wetland should be. So to restore a wetland, we need to understand fully functional healthy wetland within the same ecological range to establish a baseline of species composition and structural layers, so that we can, based on upon that, we can store the degraded wetlands. So first we need to identify whether it is a shallow wetland, deep wetland, island, or muddy land, marshy land, or we need to understand the wetland edges also. We need to observe how much the edges are, degraded, what kind of vegetation are has been, existing on uh, the edges of the wetland, or the how much the sewage or the dumping has been done, or on, or the edges are natural or concretized. So all these things we need to identify. The other thing is the planting structure of nearby the wetland, of the healthy wetland. So submerged vegetation grow entirely underwater within the photic zone where sunlight reaches. These plants are the primary producers of the dissolved oxygen in the water column, supporting fish and microorganisms. And then the rooted floating vegetation, rooted in the bottom sediments with leaves floating on the surface. And third is the free floating vegetation, small floating plants that serve as a critical food sources for fish, ducks, and the other aquatic life. Emergent vegetation, plants rooted in the wet margins with the stems and leaves growing above the water level, typically forming a ring along the wetland edges. And the fifth one is riparian vegetation, high moisture tolerant trees and woody vegetation growing along the immediately dry lands borders of the wetland. So if this vegetation structure you have identified along the wetland or a water body, it will able to identify along the water body, that means it is a healthy fully functional wetland. And the number third, there will be a rich biodiversity, abundant of pollinators, dragonflies and butterflies and the other pollinators will be there, and avian abundance, diverse healthy population of local and migratory birds, because you need to understand how these butterflies, birds, and the trees and the predators are interrelated to each other. That is why the we will be it's a good indicator that the wetland is very healthy. And presence of top carnivores, the presence of apex predators such as large eagles or even big cats in surrounding buffer areas serve as an excellent indicator of highly functional self-sustaining ecosystem around the functional healthy wetland. You can see in the images, like these are the submerged vegetation, fully immersed and deep rooted vegetation. If you can see like this picture, have you seen the upland plants and shoreland plants, emergent plants, floating plants, submerged plants? So these structures, if you are able to identify along the wetland, that means along including the biodiversity, pollinations, butterflies and predators, that means the wetland is fully functional. The top 5 largest Ramsar sites in the fully functional Ramsar sites or fully functional wetland by surface area. So these are just 5 examples I'm telling you, that Sundarban wetlands in West Bengal, which is the mangrove site, and Bambanan Coal wetland in Kerala, Chilka Lake in Odisha, Koleru Lake in Andhra Pradesh, and Bhitarnika mangroves in Odisha, which are the, you can see the diversity of flora and fauna and the quality of the ecosystem. That is why, so we should understand if these wetlands are healthy, and we need to compare, we are going to restore the degraded wetlands. So we need to follow these certain steps so that we will be able to restore the degraded wetland. These are the list of aquatic vegetation, submerged, deep rooted, rooted or shallow margins, and trees which can be planted, riparian. So these are actually a riparian vegetation, and always native species should be planted along the water bodies. A riparian vegetation can also be invasive, but we need to very careful while providing vegetation along the water bodies. That should always be native, and it should be structured in the way that we have how the healthy wetland can be function in terms of deep rooted, submerged, merged, and shallow margins, and then the trees. So what are the step-by-step ecological restoration framework? So first, we need to do the baseline mapping of historical analysis of a degraded wetland. So first, if we need to identify where is the wetland is degraded, and what is the type of wetland? It is a shallow, muddy, marshy, or then how much we need to observe the edges and the vegetation. So first we need to conduct a historical mapping using satellite images or GIS mapping to identify lost or buried wetlands, and then run extensive botanical survey to identify relic indicator species in suspected areas, and then record a comprehensive ecological baseline of the degraded site, species count, water quality, topography prior to intervention. The second is rubble removal and gradient correction. Excavate and clear the dumped debris and municipal waste to restore the original low-lying topography where water naturally accumulates. Correct the physical slope of the basin. This is the most important step. We need to stabilize the slope, or we need to provide the proper gradient to the slope so that the vegetation can provide structurally can be provided, or while the sunlight can penetrate into the water easily, and because of the vegetation the biodiversity will come, and because of the biodiversity will provide the good sign of the healthy wetland. So re-establish a gradual ecological gradient to ensure a wide photic zone where submerged plants can receive sunlight and thrive. The other is sewage diversion and natural pre-treatment. Prevent direct untreated sewage or city wastewater from entering to the wetland. Set up pre-treatment systems such as constructed wetlands, we have already discussed, featuring cascades, stone filtration layers, we have already discussed, like rain gardens and gravels and constructed wetlands and wild grasses. All these can be used in this particular step to clean the polluted water in the degraded wetlands. Specific vegetation to treat clean incoming water before it reaches the main wetland body, and then active revegetation using native species. Eradicate invasive non-native plants and from the site during the both planning and execution stages. Reintroduce native species across all 5 structural layers: submerged, rooted, floating, free floating, emergent, and riparian zones. Then the next step is micro life introduction to jumpstart to the ecological food web. Collect water from a nearby healthy, fully functional reference wetland and release it into the restored site. This inoculates the system with essential microorganisms, phytoplanktons, zooplanktons, and aquatic fungi, allow them to rapidly establish the self-store lowest trophic levels, and which ultimately build up the system. So, and then the wild grasses will come, and then the the other insects will, pollinator will come, and the other plants will come, and the other. So this is how the system will grow, and then you will able to restore the healthy wetland. And the trophic rebuilding introduce the native fish species. Once the plant and micro life communities are stable, allow and document the natural return of higher level wildlife, including butterflies, insects, pollinators, and snakes and birds. And then continuous monitoring and documentation, maintain precise chronological records of the restoration process progress, documenting the correlation between increased native plant diversity and the subsequent arrival of insects, butterflies, and birds is critical for verifying restoration success and presenting it clearly in academic or public forum. So this is how we need to understand, first need to identify the degraded wetland, and then these were the steps which we need to follow to conserve the wetlands. Central government agencies and water bodies for water conservation. So there are MOEFCC, Wetland Division, National Clean Ganga Mission, Central Pollution Control Board, and Wildlife Institutions of India, which are working on conservation of wetlands and uh, conservation of wetlands and lakes and water bodies. State level and regional agencies are state wetlands authorities, specialized autonomous bodies, Chilka Lake Development Authorities in Odisha, and East Calcutta wetlands, like special authorities, regional authorities like East Calcutta Wetland Management Authority in West Bengal, State Pollution Control Boards. National Water Mission operates under National Action Plan on Climate Change, and key national campaigns and schemes like Jal Shakti Abhiyan, Atal Bhujal Yojana, National Plan for Conservation of Aquatic Ecosystems, supporting schemes like Manrega and Amrut, which are directly and indirectly promoting and conserving underground water systems, surface water systems, and water for irrigation purposes, and etc. So at the end, we need to understand, when we are trying to, uh, 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 expecting from the government to provide some certain schemes or policies, first we need to understand where we are and what we are doing. We need to identify uh, the flood prone areas where we should not construct, and we should never construct, because those were the very highly eco-sensitive zones which can be converted into a healthy wetland, so that it may maintain the ecosystem of that particular area, and then the city, and then the country. So apart from asking policies and revising governance, revising policies from the government, we need to take action. We need to be very much become aware of the fact that like where the forests are cutting, the agriculture, mindlessly the forest are, the agriculture, the forest areas has been clear to do the extensive agriculture practices, and monocultural practices should be avoided. The real estate developers are cutting forest mindlessly, and they are taking streams and rivers, just like just the aesthetic, or just a nala. We should consider that these are a lifeline of a city, of a particular area. If we start considering the water body as a lifeline, or as a, consider as a designing elements of a city, then only we will be able to stable the fresh water boundary of earth, and we will be able to restore the biodiversity. We will be able to restore the species which are extincting, which are extinct, which are, which are going to extinct, or which already extincted. So that we need to identify if there are, when the water is coming from higher areas to the lower areas, and so where the streams are coming in, instead of constructing on the, while doing constructions on the higher slope, we need to do proper studies of watershed management and streams, so that we should avoid constructing on those streams, so that we can again how the water is coming and where it is going to collect, and where we are collect, and so that we can avoid the flood, and we can simultaneously we can avoid the water scarcity also. So it is our responsibility, I would say, to understand the natural character of the water, like our ancestor did. So on their lessons, on their experiences, we need to do the same things. Instead asking from the government, it is our responsibility to stop construction on the streams, stop construction in the flood prone areas, stop doing agricultural practices along in the flood prone areas, and and also when they have the water bodies, and the traditional water infrastructures are degrading time by time, it is our responsibility to make them functional, and make them again the elements of social interaction, because it was our deep rooted culture, and water was always in deep rooted in our culture. In every civilization, it is a deep rooted culture to as the all civilization on the earth has been thrive on water and the biodiversity only. So we need to understand all these natural resources, and we need to stop the over exploitation of the natural resources, and do the justice with the all these natural resources, so that it should be equal sharing with the people who are not able to you know use those natural resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharti ji. You may please stop sharing your screen and
Yeah.
have a glass of water.
Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you so much for such a rich and insightful session. From understanding lakes as lentic and lotic systems to the traditional water-sensitive designs of the Rajasthan and the lessons from the pre and the post-restoration of Buckingham Canal, you took us through a fascinating journey of lake and wetland restoration. Your discussion on the step-by-step approach to lake restoration, the importance of grassland and the riparian vegetation, and the role of government bodies, highlighting how restoration requires an integrated approach, was really mindful. Concepts such as sponsities, rain gardens, and constructed wetlands further showed how nature-based solutions and designs can help restore ecological process and sustain healthy food web. So we really thank you for your valuable sharing your valuable knowledge with us and giving us time in spite of you not being very well. I mean, well, while you were speaking, you went along sharing presentation and speaking and helping our audience to understand the ecosystem very well. So we thank you for that. And now we open the platform for question and answers. All the participants who are joining us, you can simply raise your hand and ask the question and answers to Bharti ji. I'm sure she'll be happy to guide you
Sure. Thank you
and
so much.
to
Thank you so much.
solve your query. Thank you. Over to the
Thank you.
participants.
Yeah. So, will you be reading the questions, or will be the participants asking question one by one?
They can, like anybody who is raising the hand, they can directly unmute yourself and ask. And if uh, not, then I'll read the question. We have so much of praises coming for you. The sites and presentation was stunning. The
Thank you.
visuals were
Thank you.
really stunning, especially the
Thank you
traditional
so much.
designs. And thank you, ma'am. It was very information session. Will the PPT will be shared? Manogya, the recordings will be shared. And we have the first question, from our director, Dr. Jayendra Lakmapurkar. Sir, please
Yeah.
unmute and you can ask. Then I'll read the questions.
Yeah, my question is, it was a wonderful presentation, very good, as Dr. Sonia said, on Lantic and Lotic, because that is very, ignored many times. Wetland are generalized, and many times particularly the low-tech systems are not, given due importance, their role in sediment dynamics and nutrient flow and all that. So that is very important. My question is, what are your experiences with community working? Because with the working with the communities, or other stakeholders like government, or because uh, many times we face challenges, our understanding on wetland and their perception of the managed pond. So we face that issues, and convincing takes a lot of energy.
Yes,
Very
yes, yes,
difficult to convince.
yeah,
So what are your
yes.
experiences? How you would overcome those
Yeah.
challenges?
Thank you. Thank you so much for asking this question. It's very important question to understand. As I already mentioned, it's our responsibility as a stakeholder, as a student, as a citizen, as a builder. First, we need to understand these natural resources are very much important for us. So while doing the breadth study, we discussed with many the local villages, and we asked questions from the local women, from the priest communities, from the kids, and the women and kids were saying that the wells and the pokers were the social platforms and playing areas for their kids, and there were the outings, the reason of outings for the women. But nowadays, since water has been reached their houses, so that outings has been closed. And similarly, the kids are not able to play outside, because now the water has been reached and the green areas has been vanished. The local governments are very reluctant. uh, Religiously they are understanding that these water bodies are very much important, and culturally, these water bodies are very much important, because we are paying homage to the our gods and goddesses. But ecologically, and if from the point perception of ecological, they are very reluctant. They are just saying ki it is just a source of a system where we need to perform some rituals, nothing else. So that is the the lack of understanding on the on the behalf of the local people also. And similarly with the government also, if we talk about government, so they are only able to understand that this is the to increase tourism, we need to do the beautification. So this beautification term is sometimes very very put a bad image or bad impression, because the beautification cannot justify the historical, cultural, traditional, deep root connection that these water bodies used to have once, which cannot be revived only by the beautification. So it should be a holistic approach, which will be very difficult to make the local government understand, or the stakeholders. So I think it is like recently there was a protest going on in Haridwar, where the local people came. I'm not saying to do the protest, but it is our responsibility. So first to get aware of the fact that this water, get associated with your water body, and get under, please understand that this is our water body. This they belong to us. Do not pollute it. Do not throw garbage into it. Then only you can go to the government and ask them to keep, please, we have to do something. But yes, we are facing some challenges while while dealing with such kind of situation, where we need to revive the degraded wetlands, because they are only providing money in terms of aesthetic or beautification only, where we need to when there is a polluted water, we need to clean it, we need to remove the sewage from all those things. So the financial help is not very much provided from the government, but yes, people are doing. There is Ramveer Tanwar, who is the pondman of India. There is waterman of India, Rajendra Singh. There are various ecologist, and there is I'm just forgetting the name. There are various ecologists who are doing, and these water conservation, from being the part of the government also, and being individual organizations also. So again, I would say it is our responsibility, instead of just asking from the government. First, it is our responsibility to understand and pay respect to the water. Only we'll be able to, able to conserve the degraded wetlands.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. Anyone else who want to ask the question? You can unmute, and by the time we decide, ma'am, we have a questions
Yes.
from Srinidhi Girish. It was very informative session. I have a question. Can heritage-based water conservation contribute to groundwater recharge and reduce dependence on increasingly unreliable rainfall?
Yes, of course. If you see the step well in Rajasthan, what was that? It was the groundwater storage only. If we talk about Adalaj or Rani Adalaj in Gujarat or Rani Ki Vav, those were the groundwater management systems only. So if we need to, but nowadays we have just totally abandoned, though which were totally indulged with the vernacular architectural style, and the resting pavilions were there, and cultural programs used to happen there. So those were designed along the way of the trading routes, so that when the traders are coming, they can stay there, they can enjoy the function, they can stay cool, because it was the underground water. And also climatically or ecologically wise, it was the management of underwater systems only, groundwater management systems only. So if we take an initiative to revive all these water infrastructures, the underground, the step wells and the kuns. So certainly where our dependency on the rainwater will get reduced. The other thing, I visited, in Bhopal, in Sihor, there are some villages there who are facing water scarcity. And in every city, every 3 meter, every 5 meter, they are having the bore well. Right. So if every people are having their bore well, and we are just, so how the groundwater will maintain. Right. So we just need to understand key, on the domestic basis, how we are depending upon the, water resources. I'm really sorry. So this is a very critical situation, because nowadays everybody wants their submersible system in their homes. And we just in Bhopal, we just participated in Betwa Udgam Sthan, Betwa Bachao, because it was getting deteriorated. And so we just need to understand, uh, on one side we are just trying to maintain the doing all these andolans and doing putting all these vegetation. On the other hand, we are having each and every household now having the submersible systems. So how it is going to balance? So there should be a midway where even like in earlier ages, there was a society, every society used to have one well, one temple, so that every one society will have their well and the other society will have other well. So we have so that is, so we should instead of individual water resources, we should have common water resources, so that we can maintain the groundwater system. So, and the second thing and the first thing, we just need to, if we will repair the already groundwater management system, like the step wells and the kuns, we will be definitely able to, will be not be able to depend upon the rainwater systems.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure Girish got the answer. Yes, Ishan, you please unmute yourself and ask.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, your lecture was very informative. Currently, I'm a research scholar at Kutch University, Bhuj, and I'm working on the groundwater quality of Dahod district, which is in Western Gujarat, I mean, Eastern Gujarat. Ma'am, my main topic of this discussion is when there are terrains where naturally the topography or the rocks are having certain elements, which adds elements such as fluorides or say nitrates or say REEs or heavy metals into the water. How do you manage to revive that ecosystem where the groundwater or say the water percolating through those rocks or through those terrains, the infiltrated water absorbs all the materials from the surrounding areas and it adds to the water. How do you manage to work on that terrain? I would like to know, ma'am.
Actually, that I have never worked on that terrain, so maybe I may not be able to answer you properly. But what as for I understood on based on my experiences, when these kind of water system, when the terrain is very alkaline in nature or very salty in nature, where the mangrove system or the salt pans, and where the mangrove, so you have to provide a lot of mangroves over there. So only when the buffer zones will be there, where you are providing the groundwater systems and you are having it. So wahan pe, you have to provide the mangrove systems, the salt pans, and the vegetation will play a very important role in these kind of situations, where the vegetations which can avoid these kind of circumstances, which can observe the alkaline or observe these salt and everything. So I think at that thing in that scenario, the mangrove system and the certain kind of vegetation will help you to maintain the groundwater management system. I'm so sorry. I think this is that the terrain is not my specialized, so maybe
No, ma'am, that's absolutely fine. I'm still currently working on that. So even I'm trying to understand better ways to understand the terrain and how the groundwater quality can be managed and how the potability of the groundwater can be managed. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
absolutely. But you need to understand the mangrove system along the coastal is. Then only you will be able to understand how these terrain are. What is the relation of mangrove with these terrains, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shan, and thank you, Bharti ji. Yes, we have another hand raiser. Yes. Please ask yourself. Please unmute yourself and ask. Manisha. Yeah, Manisha, are you able to hear us? If yes, then please
Yes.
unmute and ask.
Yes. So, good evening, ma'am. A
Good
wonderful
evening.
session.
Thank you.
So informative. We have learned a lot. Ma'am, I'm from Chhindwara, Madhya Pradesh, and I'm working there as a birder and bird conservation area. And my question is that there is a jungle between the city, and there is a water filtration plant, and the extract water comes from that plant, and it goes into three other water ponds, then it goes into a river. Okay. We have very good jungle, but no birds are there. I just want to understand why this is happening, and water testing also. And if I can have your number or WhatsApp some contact, so I can send you
Sure.
the laboratory test also, so that we can plan according to the according to your things, like कि पहले जाकर देखो कि what kind of मिट्टी is there, किनारे पर what is there, and what kind of plants are there. So can you please guide us so that I can work with Nagar Nigam to maintain the biodiversity of that particular area?
Definitely. So I guess there are some of my friends who are working with us as a wetland conservation specialist. I will connect them with you also, so that you will get a proper guidance from them also. So the thing is, again, I would say ki you said ki there are three water bodies and there is a filtration pond, and there is a, the water is coming from this and then going to the, three ponds, and there is the jungle is very good, but there is no birds. Again, the birds are coming because of water, and there are, so if we are talking about the biocultural, biofencing along the wetland. So biofencing means it should have that vegetation structure that we have already discussed in the presentation, that it should
Yes,
have
the
the
slides were
submerged
very good,
vegetation
ma'am.
emerging. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Emergent vegetation and floating vegetation, and then riparian. The on the edges, it should be the longer
Yes,
trees.
yes.
And if
Mm-hmm.
the quality of the water, that means that there is no, aquatic animals or plants are are not present in the water body. Definitely, there will be no birds, right?
So,
So
ma'am,
you,
in the
yes.
periphery, we have a freshwater stream also. There
Mm-hmm.
is a river which
Mm-hmm.
goes beside the filtration plant, and they want
Mm-hmm.
me to
Mm-hmm.
just recover the things like with the plantation. And
Right.
I mean, if someone can visit there or someone can send some kind of, uh, plan to
Right.
just
Right.
restore
Right.
the wetland, that will
Right.
be very helpful for us. Yes.
Right. Sure, sure, sure. It's just we just need to identify first the vegetation should be, presence of vegetation or absent of vegetation will definitely, will be the proper define whether this wetland is healthy or non-healthy. And because of that, we will be able to
Mm-hmm.
understand why the birds and other pollinators or insects are there or not. So we just need to
Mm-hmm.
the observation analysis of the present, presentation, presence of vegetation over there. Then when
Yes,
this
yes.
step will only we will be able to understand what is the problem there. Okay.
So to whom I should send this ground report?
I will share the number of Dr. Samir. He is the
Okay,
wetland conservation specialist from WII, FRI, I guess.
okay,
So I will share his number with
okay.
you. He will guide you.
He works for all over India?
As of for central India only.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So we can't replicate your plan into our wetland, okay?
Yeah. No, why not? I mean, it depending
We
upon
have to do
the
we have to do
current,
some
the
analysis, na?
immediate, the immediate surrounding of the your scenario. Right. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I talk about the Western Ghats and the Central India, because there is a difference in soil, there is a difference in climatic condition, there is a difference
Yes,
in,
yes. Very true.
the moisture and everything,
Very true.
rainfall pattern and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, the vegetation will
Mm-hmm.
also change. So we need to understand the immediate surrounding, the deep observation study of your immediate surrounding will tell you what is the problem, why the birds are not coming,
Mm-hmm.
and will be that will be based upon the absence of what kind of vegetation is absence, and that absence of
Mm-hmm.
vegetation will also tell ki what kind of aquatic animals are not present in the water body, right?
Okay. And
Yeah.
I have seen some Utkhanan also there.
Yes, that
So
is
is
why, that
that
is why the things are happening. Yes,
hmm, hmm,
yes. Yeah.
hmm. Okay, okay. So,
Okay.
so to whom we should report all these things? To whom?
To whom, as in to the government agency or
Yes, to the government. To which government agency should we include in our restoration plan?
so
Like
in central,
Nagar Nigam
you
is
are
there
working in Chhindwara,
because the
right? You
land
are
is
working.
of. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So वहाँ पे there will be a state biodiversity uh, wetland, local authorities will be there, or your Chhindwara mein the local communities will be there, the local the local uh, state government, local government will be there. So you can ask them or to
This is a
how to
district, so
proceed further.
collector is the highest,
Yes, yes, yes,
position
yes,
of
yes. So you
from.
can,
Yes.
yes, you can contact with them, and then, so ultimately, what my suggestion is, see, if you are really, really very much bothering about your nature, you should take the responsibility. If you will take the responsibility, government will help you. They will not going to
Mm-hmm.
suggest you, they will not going to give the give you the plate full of platter ki ye kar lo, ye kar lo, ye kar lo. It's only you as a citizen, you have to take the responsibility as a
Okay.
citizen ki no, it's
Mm-hmm.
my nature. And only then
Okay.
if you take the responsibility, you will automatically find whom you need to talk, whom you need to ask the favor, whom you need to do the guidance, whom you need to have the guidance or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, we reached there when we were doing Asian water bird survey for government of
Mm-hmm.
Madhya Pradesh.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 10-day practice. So
Yes.
that day we realized that this can be converted into a very good wetland.
Yes, of course.
If some interference from many other stakeholders we can call upon
You
and
can you can see the work of Ramveer Tanwar. He is also known as the pondman of India, and he have revived lot many degraded pond of Ghaziabad. Right.
okay,
So you can
Ramveer
Ramveer
Tanwar.
Tanwar, Ramveer Tanwar, the pondman of India,
Acha
and
from
Rajendra Singh. Yes, Ravindra Singh. I guess he is the
Raj
waterman of India.
Rajendra Singh, I know him.
Yes, yes. So he is doing
I
very
mean,
very good work.
not personally, but
Ramveer Tanwar ji.
by the
Ji
media.
ji
Okay,
ji
okay,
ji ji.
okay. So,
Okay.
okay, ma'am. And please
Okay.
share the person's,
Sure. Sure. Sure.
number.
Thank you. Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank,
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Manisha ji. We can take just 2 or 3 questions more. So yes, Ojit, please unmute yourself and ask. And I request everyone to respect everyone time and be, precise. Yeah. Yes, Ojit.
Thank you, Dr. Sonia and Dr. Bharti, for a wonderful organization of the talk on the wetland. I think some of the questions that I wanted to ask have been already answered by answering the questions of the earlier participants. I'm just wondering what, according to you, are the groups of people who should be consulted for successfully restoring the wetland? The reason being, when I go to any of the wetland, for example, when I visit any restoring wetlands, we come with a bag full of plants and a lot of stories and your understanding, and we need a local people to consult, and sometimes we could not communicate what kind of plants used to be growing there and what kind of
Mhm.
plants that we think would be good for that particular environment. So if you have done any kind of exercises on this, what according to you would be the good groups of people that should be consulted for firmly establishing the restoration projects? Thank you so much. I
Okay.
teach in Ramjas College, University of Delhi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. It's a very, very wonderful question, but very difficult to answer. But I would say, when I was teaching in Bhopal, so there was a team. I don't know, they must have joined this session or not. So there is a team. There is a wild grass specialist from WII, and there is one wetland conservation specialist from FRI, and there is one mammal specialist from WII, and there is one ornithologist, bird specialist from WII. So these group of people having their own organization, and they are working, they are documenting the ecosystems of Central India and doing such good works. So the thing is, but they are very young professionals, right? So you just need to understand ki it's first we need to accept the harsh reality that it is our responsibility, whether we are having the specialization or not, it is our responsibility. If we realize that it is our responsibility, we just need to find out ki the people who are working. So the people from Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, Forest Research Institute, Dehradun, and people from Jabalpur. There is one institute in Jabalpur also. So these institutions where people are working on agroforestry, wild grasses, wetland conservation, documenting, ecosystems or biology. So you need to consult from these institutions people, so that they can help you, guide you what kind of plants, what kind of vegetation you need to prefer along the water bodies, degraded water bodies, how to identify. So you just need to, and in the age of social media, you can search on LinkedIn or search on, go to the website of the institutes. You can easily identify who are the people who can guide you easily, right? The other thing, first you just need to identify what kind of wetland or how much it is degraded, or what is the present situation of it. And then I would say you can work with different landscape architects, landscape ecologists. There are various landscape architects who are working in this team only, and there are various landscape there is landscape architect from SPA Bhopal who are working on the river ecology, right? So they have done the documentation on Pachmadi biosphere, and they are doing a lot of good work on the whole team is working on the villages in Bhopal, just to understand the water scarcity and everything, the needs of the people. So there are hundreds of people available. It is just, you just need to open your eyes and search for the who are the specialists of certain things, so that they can guide you. And in the age of internet, everything is available. You just need to ask the right questions on the right platform, right?
Thank you, Anupama ji, and thank you, Ojit, for a wonderful question. We have a quick question from Richard. So, Richard Singh, please unmute yourself and ask.
Hello. I hope
Hi.
I'm audible. I'm from
Yes.
I'm currently in Shillong, Meghalaya, Northeast India. So I just wanted to ask is, has any time ecotourism with wetland restoration ever worked out? Or like, should it just be like restored and tourism should not be done, or should it be done? What's your opinion? That's
It's a very diplomatic question. So the thing is ki, uh, tourism industry, construction industry, mining industry are the largest industry who are, on whom the Indian economy is dependent. First thing. The second thing, our in the age of climate change, where we have already seen how many brown boundary we have crossed, how many species has been declined and everything. So sincerely, we have to, if we are talking about ecotourism, then it should be the ecotourism only, right? So we should be consider, while providing tourism activities, there should be certain areas where the movement, the human intervention, human movement should not be allowed, because we need to protect them. It is an urgency to understand that India as a wholesome is a very beautiful country, and there are some spaces which should not be allowed to visit, as per my opinion, right? As per my opinion, because uh, if we allow tourism everywhere, then the tourism and the whole landscape of the country or the earth, I would say, disbalance. So there are certain things where the human intervention tourism should not be allowed. Only it should be get appreciated. It should get appreciation from the people, but it should not get the immersion experience ki you should go there and experience the things. No, because we need to conserve them. Ultimately, if we allow tourism everywhere, I know it's a big industry, but there are methods for sustainable tourism practices. But we are not talking about sustainable tourism practices. We are talking about economy, based tourism practices. So, and instead of having economy based tourism practices, we always introduce sustainable tourism based practices, where certain areas should, buffer areas should be maintained, core areas should be maintained, and recreational areas should be limited to the certain areas, so that we can holistically conserve these kind of eco-sensitive zones, which should not, which once get lost cannot be replicated again. And it, this is for our future to come to see how India and the world is so beautiful, right?
agree.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
please,
just a
Richard.
student, so I was just wondering. Thank you, ma'am. It was
Thank you.
very informative answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Richard, for your active participation. Uh, Ma'am, we have one more question from Tithi, and it's important, I guess. Every question is important, but yeah, from Gen Z point of view, how do you communicate with government bodies about importance of ecological healthy wetland as a citizen or student, where government should listen?
Okay, just give me 2 seconds. I just need to think. Um, again, because since all my experiences, I would say, because I have worked with many young professionals who are working in government sectors, who are working with the government organizations, who are working in the government organizations. The thing is that they are not going to guide you. They're not going to guide you this is the eco-sensitive zone, you should they are you should pay respect to it or something like that. It's your responsibility to make them understand. So first it is our responsibility ki pehle we need to make us understand ki we should aware of the fact that the water is belong to earth, and we should conserve it, we should not waste it. So I would say, instead of asking from the government, you should create your own opportunities to conserve wetlands, to conserve, bring more society into it. You should ask for community engagement. If you ask various communities, various people, because initially these wetlands, these sacred groves and forests only were conserved by the local communities only. But nowadays, because human intensification happening as at a very larger scale, that everything has been done individually. So it should be a cumulative effort from the society. If the cumulative effort from the society will coming, then the government will definitely will help you, right? So that I would say, but first it
Uh,
is our responsibility.
Thank you for such a wonderful, answer. But last question from my end. This debate will always keep on going.
Yes.
How about development? Taking development, we want clean water. We want tap water. We don't want to go and have all the physical labors which were there in the olden times. We want cleaner areas. So how to take that into consideration, specifically in cities like Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, where the opportunities are more for livelihood, but the spaces are less.
Yes. This Sonia, this is a very, very good question. Thank you for asking, because um, you know, uh, before independence, development was a need, but nowadays development has become a greed, right? So nowadays, first we need to understand what is the meaning of comfort, what is the meaning of luxury. You know, uh, Johann Rockstrom, after doing such a great research, he just provided three solutions: eat simple food, plant more trees, and use circular economy. That's it, right? So similarly, I would answer, first we just need to understand for us what is the meaning of luxury. If we are asking for more junk food, and wearing lot of that kind of clothes which cannot be cannot be recycled or something like that. We just need to understand our lifestyle. If we need to, because our traditional values, our culture was deeply rooted in the sustainability. That is why India was very much rich in at that time, in terms of sustainability, in terms of ecology, in terms of culture, in terms of medicine, in terms of Ayurveda, in terms of everything. So first we need to understand what is the meaning of luxury to us. The second thing, we need to redefine the definition of development, right? Nowadays, putting infrastructure, putting having McD all the around, having the road infrastructure, or the glass buildings and everything, there is no need of all these things. We just need to understand the simple. And nowadays we are having technology. AI is doing everything. So first we were handicapped by physically, when the machine has took all the power, and now we are mentally handicapped because AI taking all the brains, all the things of us. So we just need to understand how much energy where we need to put, and at on what platform we need to put. The lifestyle we accept, the simple our luxury will become, and the simple will your family will become, and the simple will the society, and the city, and the country, and the state, and the country, and the world. So it's just us. It's just us. It's nothing, we cannot ask from the government. We're not from the, the other stakeholder. It's just us. It's just our responsibility. We need to define our luxury. We need to define our daily lifestyle. We need to define the definition of development and everything. So we need to change us.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I also have a different thoughts on it, because government comes with a budget. If and what we demand as a sustainable, the structures are simple. So the question will come where the money of the government is going. So that's all together political, that why government is not spending. So that's the reason I said that debate will keep on going. We are taxpayers.
Now you got the answer.
Yeah. Anyhow, so thank you.
It's coded. It's coded.
It's coded. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for amazing presentation and the wonderful books you have recommended in the starting of the presentation. There, that is something very new. I came to know the collection. It was really pretty interesting. So with that, I would request everyone to please open up your camera for the group photograph before we move forward for official vote of thanks.
I'm sorry, Sonia, but my camera is not working today. But
I request everyone else to please open up your camera for the group photograph. It's good to have the memories together and the learnings together we are making. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
we
so much.
officially
Thank you so much.
hand over to Dr. Jandal Lagmapurkar for vote of thanks.
yeah, thank you for this. I think I should thanks all for this nice brainstorming. Wetland management is a multidisciplinary subject. You need zoologists, you need botanists, you need soil scientists, you need hydrogeologists, you need social science, and to integrate everything, you need an architect, landscape architect to,
Yes.
understand everything and integrate everything. So if you have all these things, you could be a very good wetland manager, or you can do a very good case study of a wetland. But finally, it's, what question boiled down to is what would be the role of government, because they have engineers. They don't have all these disciplines, and that's the problem we are facing, and we are dealing actually. So I think, but slowly the circumstances has arise, because of climate change. We are facing the, very bad climate change impact. It has been already there in urban areas, and slowly it's spreading. So I think sessions like this will spread this message, and I think very good efforts by Dr. Sonia, and thanks to Dr. Anupama Bharti for this very nice, thought-provoking sessions. So I thanks all for this participation and this attendance. Thank you all. GS would be proudly attending this, organizing this kind of events. Thank you all. And I think we'll meet again, Ms. Anupama ji. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we end the session. So thank you for your time and energy. We will see you in the next month webinar. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sonia. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye, everyone. Thank you.